Alright, so this technique is called Gift of Destruction, and it is against a right handshake, but works against the right cross wrist grab as well. Now, to fully understand this technique, we need to realize that the handshake or wrist grab itself is often not the entire attack. With a handshake, our opponent is already within range to the point that he can now strike or grab without any further telegraphing. And that means we cannot afford to wait and see what he's going to do next. So you won't have enough time to respond if you allow your opponent to initiate the next action. So we need to prevent rather than respond. In Kenpo lingo, we say that we need to check rather than block. It is not the handshake itself that is the most dangerous aspect of this attack. It's what is about to happen next that is the problem. And it's what is about to happen next that we need to intercept or prevent. For example, your opponent could punch you with his left hand, and he can even pull you into that punch. There are other things he can do. He could do an arm bar. He can kick to the groin. Or he can turn this into a wrestling match. But the good news is that we can still use the base technique of Gift of Destruction to prevent the punch, or the attempted headlock, or the attempted armbar, or the low kick, etc. This is not to say that we can stop everything our opponent can do with just Gift of Destruction. There is a point at which we will have to resort to a different Kenpo technique if the attack changes too drastically. But the punch, or the kick, or the armbar, or the attempted grab or headlock, those can usually be taken care of with just the first move of this particular technique. But that does mean that we need to start this technique with the control of the opponent's arm first, and the timing is very important here. So we start Gift of Destruction by pulling our right arm back while turning our right hand clockwise to expose his elbow. And we strike our opponent's exposed elbow with our left palm. And we need to accomplish that first because the hop and the knee strike could leave us vulnerable. For example, the hop and knee strike itself doesn't stop the punch. It's the pull together with the palm to his elbow that protects us here. The way that Mr. Parker communicated this was by telling us to use the opponent's dead weight against him, which means we pull our opponent's arm to pull him forward, and we also pull ourselves forward, which also serves to speed up the process and surprises the opponent. The palm to the elbow, together with the pull on his arm, checks our opponent's width to cancel his left arm. And this then allows us to deliver the knee strike to his groin. That prevents our opponent from kicking as well. Now, once we accomplish that, our opponent's most likely physical reaction is to bend forward at the waist while we drive back his lower body. And as always, we use that physical reaction for our benefit. Since he's bending forward here, we can now borrow that force in order to hit him even harder with a right inward elbow strike, which is our next move. And that, of course, means that we have to let go of his right hand, but we don't want to allow him to use that arm again, so we will try to check that arm, and one of the best ways to do that is to pin his right arm against his own body. And if his right leg is in reach, we can now buckle it with our right knee as we plant forward when we hit him with our right inward elbow while we pin his arm. So at orange belt level, this is the end of this technique, And we then of course finish, as always, by getting out of range using a cover out.